Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining in. So we have Mr. Mirza from the UK team of SIEC. He's based out of Nottingham, and he is an international education expert with more than 10 years of experience. So we will be starting with a session very soon. In the meantime, I would pass it on to him to talk to you all. We have enabled the chat option. So if there's anything you want us to talk about or you want to ask, you can just put it in the chat and we will be more than happy to talk about it. So thank you once again. Mirza, over to you.
Thank you, Sanya. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us today. It's a real pleasure to be speaking with you. As Sanya said, I am somebody who's been working with UK universities for quite some time. So I'll just give a brief background of my experience in the sector. So I worked helping international students, particularly from India, come to study in the UK for around 13 years now. And I've worked inside UK universities in their international offices. I was head of the international office for one of UK universities. So I really understand the process from the university side in terms of what universities look for when they're assessing student applications. But I also understand what students need to do to succeed really once they get to university. And both of those topics are something that I will be talking about today. And of course, we also have one of our successful alumni who is currently in the UK, in fact, just completing her course. She is somebody who contacted one of our teams a couple of years ago and has been going through the process that you were at the beginning of, essentially, or the process that you're about to undertake. So she'll be able to share some of the information of what it's really like to study in the UK from an Indian student's perspective. Once we've sorted out some technical issues and got her onto the call. In the meantime, though, I wanted to start just by reiterating some of the things that we always talk about as a team when we speak to students. So your careers advisors may have already said this, but obviously I wouldn't be representing the UK if I didn't talk about some of the reasons why UK is such a good choice for international students. So the UK obviously has a huge history welcoming international students. We've had a very long history bringing international students into our universities. And in fact, there are, of course, famous alumni from India, such as Mahatma Gandhi, who studied in the UK. And so we've been welcoming international students and students from India for around a century and possibly even longer, really, if you look at kind of the links that the UK had to the wider world through kind of the times of the empire and so on. So the UK is well established in this, and of course we've been really strong at supporting students when they arrive and study with us. We have services in place that kind of look after students from the point of enrollment to any issues you may have with your visa or your accommodation, or just if you're homesick or just missing home. To kind of making sure that you've got the necessary employability support to succeed whilst you're in the UK. And of course, the UK is itself a very multicultural country. We have a huge South Asian population, a big population of people from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. And that means that you will be able to fit in quite easily. And I'm sure Janhavi will be able to pick up on that as well once she kind of tells you a bit about her experience. Janhavi, lovely to have you join us. I'm glad the technical issues have been
Yeah, hi, Mirza. Hi. Sorry, there was some technical glitch.
It's okay. It always happens. I think
Yeah.
the last 4 years since COVID, since we've all moved online, we're used to things going a little bit wrong. So as long as we get them fixed, that's the main thing. But welcome, lovely to see you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hi, Janvi.
Hi.
To have you
Hi,
here.
Sunny.
So I would like to quickly introduce both our panelists again today to our audiences. So we have Mr. Mirza, who is based out of Nottingham and is a part of SIEC UK. He has been in the international education industry for the last 10 years, more than 10 years. And we've got him today to actually cover some practical aspects of your journey that you're already on to, and you will be, kind of seeing in days or months to come. And then we also have Janhavi, who is our alumna. So she has been, she studied at University of Surrey in the UK, and she herself did a lot of research. So we personally felt that she's one of the best people to have here to talk to you about her experience, because one of the most important bit of being an international student is get involved in the process, because when you come to agents like us, sometimes students forget that it's ultimately their journey and there's a lot they should be doing in that, So she's going to cover on a lot of those aspects. So before we start, we would like to make this interactive. We have enabled the chat option, and I would kind of like you to tell us what stage are you at in your journey. Like, are you holding an offer? Have you already applied but you're waiting for it? Have you already accepted your offer? So if you could just take a moment and share your stages with us in the chat. I can see we have Animesh, Gagan, Jaspreet, Kirandeep, Laksh, and a lot of other students. So we're waiting for your response. Like, you could just help us know what stage are you at. Or hi Rohit, thanks a lot for your message. So which stage are you at? Like, do you already have an offer? Are you waiting for any, or are you yet to apply? Okay, so Mehak says she is already holding an offer. So I think she's at a very crucial stage. Jaspreet is still planning to apply. So she's at a very initial stage of this overwhelming journey. Rohit has shortlisted a few options and he's working on his application. So I think this gives us a very good pool of students, because we really have to start and talk about, the very basic steps to the most important ones. And we have Animesh, she's holding an offer. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for making this work, and thank you for sharing. So I'll pass it on to Mirza. So we'll be asking some questions from our panelists, and if you have any questions that you would like me to ask on your behalf, I'll be happy to do it. So just put it in the chat, and we will cover those as well. The first one to begin with, before we actually start with our agenda, would you like to add something to the students? Any message that we would like to begin this session with?
Well, I think January would be a better place to give them a message. But from my side, really, I'm excited on their behalf. I wish I was 18, 19, 20 again. It was a long time ago for me. But you are at such an exciting point in your life. You have got the world in front of you, and you've got so much choice as to what you can do. And again, that's why we have teams in place who can guide you on the different course options. I'll be very honest, when I was your age, I didn't have a clue about all the different variety of courses that there are. And it was only through doing my job at universities that I realized that there are so many specialist courses. I did a law degree, just to be clear, but if I went back now, I'd probably do something different, because now I know more of what's available. There are joint honors courses, there are specializations, there are kind of courses that give you a minor major. There's so many different options. And so I'm excited on your behalf, and really pleased that we can be a part of your journey and support you through the next few months or the next year or so.
So hi guys, hi everyone. So you actually have seen all your messages. You've joined this discussion at the correct stage, if you ask me, because you've still, you're planning to apply, or I think you've shortlisted a few. So this is the right stage. And actually, Sanya had helped me with my UK application. Sanya, Tanni, Shivani, the whole SIEC team. They had been of great help. So actually, till the visa process, I had nothing to worry about, because SIEC had taken care of everything. But I also wanted to ask, so you're applying, so are all of you undergrad students or post-graduation, or how?
So it'll be a mix of students. So again, guys, you can respond in the chat like you would like to share. So we've
UG,
got
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
We've got 2 UG.
Okay,
Postgrad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So because I was asking, because while looking for accommodations and stuff, for post graduation, the contract is generally for 1 year, and usually it's every year you have to look for a new one. So that's why.
Great. All right. So I think we will get started with our agenda for the session. So the first step of of this, like some of you are yet to apply, some of you are already shortlisting the options and preparing for application. So most of you would actually have a conditional offer once you apply. So that's the first step, because it's in some cases you are able to provide everything that a university requires, but even then at times there could be an interview which they want to do with you. So that makes an offer conditional. So that's the first step of you becoming an applicant, and maybe the first point of establishment as well, because it means that you have been conditionally accepted, which is an achievement, to be honest. I think in the current times it just seems so easy to get an offer that we don't celebrate that bit much, but it is actually a big deal to get an offer from your preferred university. So I would like Mirza to probably talk about this aspect of your journey, like how should one prepare for their application, what conditions can be avoided, what can be, kind of how can they meet those conditions quicker. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I think it's a great place to start. You're completely right. I want to, back up what you just said. Students should always feel really proud once they receive an offer, because no university accepts everybody. Every university has some entry requirements, and so even though it might be a quick decision because actually they're just looking for your grades and your background and your kind of degree. You've still met those grades. There will be students who would want to go there that haven't met those grades. So absolutely, you should feel proud of yourself. In terms of making applications, I think one of the key things is to first of all look at the kind of options of universities that offer your course. Speak to your careers advisor. Sanya, you would have heard me say many times that one of the things that I always say to students is don't get too hung up on overall rankings when you're shortlisting your universities. Overall rankings can really mislead us because I mean, in the UK, the overall rankings will always say that the best are Cambridge and Oxford. But even they're not the best for every single subject area. And in fact, there are many subject areas where there are lots of universities that have a better specialism in those. So looking at the overall rankings isn't helpful. I think speak to your careers advisor, try to drill down into the rankings that are important to you when you're shortlisting. So your course, your subject area, that's an important ranking. What I always advise students look at is also something like student satisfaction. For me personally, that was always a big thing when I was choosing universities. I want to know that the students who are there are happy, and the student satisfaction rankings are based just on their feedback. And then, of course, if there's any other rankings that are particularly important to you, so if you want to go and get a good job by the time you graduate, then employability ranking is important. If you want to go and do a PhD and you want to do research, then the research rankings and scores are important. So always try and be specific. Once you've narrowed down your options and you've shortlisted, then of course you can get your applications in. And at that point, make sure you've got your paperwork ready. There are two key things that no application can go in without. So a statement of purpose, a personal statement, your kind of motivation letter, and your transcripts or your certificates so far. So if you're an undergraduate student, you would provide your standard 11 or standard 10 transcripts. If you're a postgraduate student, you might have your fourth sem mark sheet or whatever it is that you would provide. But there needs to be some sort of mark sheet for the university to see that you're at least getting towards the grades that they will be looking for. Because obviously, if you're quite far off what they ask for, you wouldn't even get a conditional offer. So those are the two things every application has to begin with. You cannot submit an application without them because the university just has nothing to base the decision on. Your personal statement is, of course, very important as well. So when we talk about writing your personal statement and so on, we need information from you to present you in the best way, because universities want to see why you want to do the course, what your ambitions are, what your drive is to make sure that you want to succeed, and also kind of what makes you tick as an individual. They want to see that you're also kind of an interesting person anyway to have on campus. Once you've got those two things, we can submit an application, but there are usually other things like a letter of reference, which you can take a bit more time to obtain. If a university needs it up front, again, we will tell you. And of course, there's things like English language. Many universities give waivers on CBSE grades, for example, and so on. Some give it MOI letters, but either way, there will be an English language component. And if you don't have the relevant English language, you can then do an English test. Duolingo, for example, or PT or whatever it might be, and submit that later as well. So that doesn't necessarily have to be there at the start. And then once you've got those documents in place and you've sent off your application and you've got your conditional offer, then you can tick off the rest of the things. And again, our careers advisors will talk you through that and support you with it. So that's essentially the process for applications. It's not too scary, but the important thing is that you get the advice from careers advisors as to which university fits what you're looking for, but also fits your background. So I think that's covered most of what you asked me, Sanya.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I think it actually has covered on the most important points of this particular stage. And I would just like to add that once you have a conditional offer, sometimes you might be stuck with one of those conditions, and you would be in a situation that, okay, this one's not possible to be met. It's not end of the world. You can always discuss with your advisor about what alternates can be tried for. There are alternate documents that you can go for, and sometimes you just might want to look at a different university. So, for example, a lot of students apply without IELTS. Some of them get waivers, but many of them don't. And the ones who don't, when they do appear for IELTS, if they don't get the required score for their first preferred university, there would be other universities who are accepting, what they've got. So it's very important to not give up too soon, and to talk about, the various alternates and the solutions that that are waiting for you. I would like to know from Janvi, like, since you did apply to a couple of universities yourself,
Yeah.
a lot of research. So how was your experience of preparing for an application? What were the things you made sure went right and you wouldn't miss on?
So Mirza has covered the most important point that about the rankings, because generally, if you see, I mean, we tend to check for the top 10 universities, top 20 universities in UK, Oxford, Cambridge. So now for my university, sorry, it's not in the top 10, but for the course I'm doing, international tourism management, it's number one in UK and it's the second best in the world. So it's according to the course. And the course content is finally the most important aspect. And I would also like to, apart from the other points, I would also, and if they are similar, say you're looking for 2, 3 universities which have a good course and you're confused, then probably you can also look for the location. So if it's the connectivity, and also check what the alumni are doing. That also helps. Maybe connect on LinkedIn and for career prospects, and how are they placed, and those can also be factors which you can consider. And regarding IELTS, I would suggest you go for the computer generated ones, because then the results are faster. And if you don't clear, or if you don't meet your goal, giving a retest is easier. I mean, for the computer based than the written one, because you get the results quickly, and so you can reapply if needed on time. So because even I had applied for the university first and then I gave my IELTS. So you just have to mention a tentative date. I had mentioned a tentative date on when I'd be giving the IELTS, and then submitted the results. So that was the only pending part on my part, from the conditional to unconditional. So you can do that.
Right. So thank you. And I also want to ask a follow-up question that, did you have more than one offers in hand, or you just had one when you kind of?
No, actually, I had so from Surrey, I had one from Coventry, and I had one from a Birmingham college,
Yeah.
and so it was a very difficult choice. But then again, I Coventry, because I love London. So it was like, just, it's in the city center, and it's so Coventry, between Coventry and Surrey, I was a bit, it was a dilemma. But then I went ahead with Surrey, because A, the course content. So that was the main reason. And also check for scholarships. So which university is offering, what are the scholarship offerings, and that would be that's another good parameter. So
Yeah.
but
So
finally it narrows down to your course content, and yeah, that's the main, I feel.
I think we've already answered my question, and
Yeah.
and it does make sense. And I would like to ask Mirza, from his perspective, like, what should be a student's approach towards holding multiple offers? Should they wait for the last one, or should they just decide based on certain factors? Because a lot of times, students miss out on what's in hand just because they're waiting for something else.
So I have to say, as a UK student who can only legally apply to 5 universities maximum. When I started doing this job and I came to India first time, and I met students who were holding 10 offers or 15 offers, I thought, why do you need so many? So in the UK, we're legally only allowed to apply to 5, and you essentially keep 2. You keep your first one and you keep a backup one. And to me, that kind of makes sense. You know, the whole point is that you can do the research, and particularly you can speak to people, like Janhavi said, alumni, you can speak to careers advisors, you'll get all the information, and then you apply to kind of your top 2, 3, 4 choices, 5, you know, or however many. And then you're looking to get the offer for your favorite, and you're looking to have an offer for one that might be asking for slightly lower entry requirements to protect yourself just in case in your final exams you slip a little bit. Okay, that's really the only 2 you need. If obviously you apply to your favorite university and they're not giving you an offer, if you apply to 5 and you've not got any other offers, then the great thing that as an international student, you have the right to apply to a few more. But if you're getting the offers, particularly for your favorites, then I don't think you need to be worrying about too many others. And as you rightly said, if you've got your favorite making you an offer and they've, you know, they've offered you a scholarship or whatever it may be, take that. Absolutely. Once you've got that favorite, take it, start making your plans, because the last thing you want to do is keep kind of holding out, considering things, and then you get to August, you haven't confirmed, the place might go, course may fill up. Secondly, you're applying for your visa later, you might arrive late, you might miss some of the welcome activities. So actually, if you've got your favorites giving you an offer, you're in such a great position, and you don't need 5 or 10 offers as long as you've got your favorites. So take that, start planning early, find your accommodation, as Janhavi said. I mean, that's an important part as well. And, you know, get the process started so that you arrive exactly when you should arrive. You don't miss any of the welcome activities, and you can kind of hit the ground running that way.
Yeah, and I have a follow-up question to that. Because the next step after you have a conditional offer, you've met your conditions, or even if you haven't, but you know for sure you will be able to get that particular document or piece of information. When should exactly the student begin with the acceptance process? Like when should they be preparing their finances? How should they start thinking about it? When is the right time to pay the deposit? And you know, begin with the next steps of this journey.
It'll be interesting to hear when Janhavi did it, because obviously having that exact experience would be really helpful. But I'll just say, for me, the advice has always been as early as possible. Again, that's why I say, if you know who your favorite university is, because you've done your research up front, you shouldn't be doing research as you get offers. Your research should come so that you know who you're applying to. Then, you know, if you've got your favorite offers coming through, you don't need to be waiting. You've got an offer, you know that you can meet the conditions, you can pay that deposit, and as I say, get everything started earlier. I've seen too many students over the years who left it late, who then missed out on a place because there was delays with visa processing and so on. So if you can have a deposit paid in time to apply for the visa at the earliest point, which is usually around May, June, then that's a fantastic position to be in. But Janhavi, over to you from your personal experience.
No, absolutely. Because so the minute I got the unconditional offer, within that week I had paid the first deposit. So you have to go also go through the university, your respective university websites thoroughly, because they have all the information on what the deposit is, how it should be paid, and how many installments. It's all there on the website. And so, and also the sooner you get the unconditional and you pay, the accommodation, the sooner you book the accommodation, it would be better, because you know, for UG, PG, it's I mean, for PG it's 1 year, but for UG it's 3 years. So you know, you have to take all that into consideration. And because in some places the contract is only for a year, so you will have to keep you know, changing it every year. So it's better you apply early, so the first year is taken care of for the UG students. And so that's there. And you really don't want to miss out on the welcome and orientation weeks, because they are the most important. You get all the university information about, you know, the places, the hangout places in the town, coupons, discounts, everything. So you really must avail that. And they also have university tours which they conduct. So please don't miss out on the welcome week. So I would suggest the minute you get your unconditional offer, to plan play the whatever the first deposit is required, and you could please reach out to SIC because they had helped me tremendously with all these processes from time to time. So yes, the sooner you come here, it would be better in terms of everything. Settling down, settling in your accommodation, or because I was the Feb intake, so it's not the main intake. So it was kind of a rushed in for us because we moved in on Saturday and the lectures began on Monday. So not much time to settle in. But September intake is nice. It's you have a week long orientation and you have time to settle in. So it would, yeah. So just try to make it on the very first day of the orientation. That would be helpful.
That's, I think, a lot of great advices, not just one, but many that they must start thinking about at a very early stage. And I would also like to add that there is always an option for students to pay on a conditional offer as well. It really depends. Your advisor would be the best judge of recommending that to you. But you must go through the refund policies, even if you're paying on an unconditional offer letter. That is a very important bit. And if at all you do pay on a conditional offer, most of the universities, rather all of them, they actually have this policy of refunding your money if at all you're not able to meet any of your conditions, for instance, interview. So it's actually not mandatory to wait until you get the unconditional offer letter, but you could actually, save some time and work on that bit a little early. My next question is to you, Janvi.
Yeah.
What was your pre-departure checklist like? Like, what were the things you decided to? That's a bit of fun. I feel that students want to go shopping and they just want to think, okay, how much currency should I take? So yeah, just tell us about that.
Yeah. So 2 suitcases, right? One of clothes and other food. So for food, pressure cooker is a must for Indian students. I mean, here all the Indians I know have that. I would suggest you get ready to eat packs, because the ready to eat like poha upma that you get in India or the pre-mixes, they are very helpful. They'll be saviors for the initial first, for a few weeks, for a few months while settling in. That's helpful. And there are many Indian stores here. So it's fine. I mean, you pack whatever it's necessary for you.
Can I jump in? I don't think you saw me make a face when you said pressure cooker. I covered my face just because I've spent many a day at Heathrow welcoming students when they arrive. I don't know if you had the same at Surrey. And so students arrive and there'll be these tiny girls, 18, 19 years old with their suitcases weighing more than me. And I'm like, what have you got in here? Now I know it's the pressure cookers.
Yeah, it's a pressure cooker. That's a must. But again, you see, ready to eat you can get for convenience. But now I'm having a hard time finishing all of that. You don't want to spend a lot of time cooking, so everything is locally available. Just it's just see. I mean, that's a personal advice. You get everything here. There are Indian stores you can order online. So just see. Clothing, I would say get a couple of warm jackets. I would suggest that you get one just for the travel and buy one here because it's according to the climate. So rather than buying from India and just carrying extra weight, I would suggest you buy one or maybe one backup jackets and then purchase it from here, the winter wear.
I think that's really good advice, and I always used to say this to students. Because somewhere like Primark in the UK, you'll be able to get a really thick winter coat, probably cheaper than you would in India, even because we have more availability. And the other thing, as you said, is that you don't have to kind of bring a big bulky coat in your suitcase, so there's more room for Maggi noodles and pressure cookers. So yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and also I mean that's my personal take. It's always better to live like a local wherever you are. So it's nice. That's just a personal take. So that helps.
I agree with you on that, and I think that's really important. We talked about this. Obviously, I talked to you about Pune and my favorite places in Pune.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's absolutely important to kind of come in and see how things work, and then you can buy things here. I think what you mentioned as well about things being available.
Yeah.
Just before you joined, I said to students, we have a big South Asian population in the UK already. We have the shops, we have,
Yeah.
you can get good spices, you can get good quality
Yeah.
paneer, you can get what you want, so yeah, I think that's really important to mention. Thank you.
And also,
And
and if you're
they'll
really,
trust you better than they trust me when we say that as well.
and if you're really craving for Indian food, then you can always make a trip to Wembley. You have all pani puris and everything. It's there. So yeah, but pack all the essentials, like so if you have any medicines, or if you have if you're allergic, or any of your medicines that you need, get a prescription though, from your doctor. And so medicines are one. Then of course clothing, and like I said, again, utensils, cutlery, you get it here, so you'll just be adding onto a lot of except, I mean, pressure cookers also, that's the only thing. But apart from that, you get everything here, so you can just pack a few essentials for emergencies. But plates, cutleries is all that you can get from here as well. So it again depends on you. It's your personal, it's very subjective, so what to pack. But a few essentials, yes.
I think
Great.
you mentioned, sorry, Sanya, I was just going to add, you mentioned obviously with the medicines, you're so right. Prescription is important, and original packaging. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you may have them taken
Oh
away
yeah.
from you at the airport. So the
Yeah.
fact that, well reminded, get the prescription, bring the prescription with you, just
Yeah.
in case at the airport they say, what's this white powder that you're bringing in? Which of course could look suspicious,
Yeah.
but it's important to have the explanation.
Yeah, so I think again that's a lot of good information, and I'm sure, and I hope that the students are really making notes of these little things, because it's difficult to find them otherwise. Before we jump on to the post-arrival topics, I just want to ask, or kind of check with you, how does one navigate with the NHS and the private insurance? What should be their choice there? So we would like Mirza to start, and then Janvi, you can share your experience. And then we do have a question. I'll go for that. So yeah, over to you, Mirza.
Well, I mean, the great thing about the UK is that our health service is there for everybody in the same way, whether they're on a student visa or whether they're a taxpayer like me. So I've always said to students, you don't have to worry about private medical insurance like you do in some other countries. As part of your visa, you pay your NHS surcharge, and you have full access to all treatment, just as I do, and you pay nothing, just as I do. So you're treated like a UK taxpayer. So if you had to go into accident and emergency because you injured your leg playing football or whatever it might be, if you had needed some surgery, or if you just needed to visit a GP, you're covered. The only things you're not covered for, just as I'm not, are dentists and opticians treatment. So those two things taxpayers have to pay here for as well. So anybody on any other visa has to pay as well. So get any dental treatment you may need before you leave India. Maybe visit your dentist, your optician for a checkup. Just make sure your prescription is correct before you leave India. But otherwise, those sorts of things are kind of additional if you need them. So yeah, don't worry about private medical insurance. You will be covered, and it will all be a part of your visa. So it's really smooth, really simple process. But Janvi, I mean, obviously you've been
No,
through it.
yeah. It's part, the NHS part is the health search. So it's a part of the visa application itself. So you don't, and more importantly, after you come here, as soon as possible, register with a GP, a general practitioner. So only once you do that, you can avail the NHS services. And don't wait. So thankfully, I haven't had the need to, but register as soon as possible. Don't wait, like if you say god forbid fall ill and then I'd register with a GP. Don't do that, because then it takes time to get yourself registered, I mean, for NHS to get the data. So it's advised that as soon as you come, there are a few things. One of the few things that you must do, like within a week, it's advisable. That it's one is this, the GP. So it's because if you don't, then you can't avail the services, NHS services. So, and also for prescriptions, if you need any medication here, say from Tesco or anything, you need a prescription. So your GP can give you that.
And you've just reminded me, that's a good point as well. So for
Yeah.
prescriptions, we all pay the first £9, I want to say.
Yeah.
So basically, taxpayers, students, we're all covered in the same way. If your medicine costs £100, you pay the first 9
Yeah.
or so. If your medicine costs £5, you pay all of it. But we all pay just a small part at the beginning, and the rest is covered by the NHS and your NHS surcharge. So again, you don't have to worry about medicine being too expensive. If it's something that you're prescribed by your doctor, you will be covered for it, same as I would be.
All right. So we do have a question regarding syllabus. So the student wants to know where can they find the course modules of their shortlisted universities.
So yeah, so it's on the university website, and again the format here is different from India. So I have done a master's in India. This is my second master's, so it's totally different. It's more application based. It's critical thinking, and so all of that will be explained during the first lecture of your university. Your professors will explain the assignment criteria, the marking criteria, but all of this you can find on the university website. So it's there under I think it will be under examinations and assessments. I don't know, I think the university pages differ, but all this information is there. So what your course will be like, so what modules will be there, what will be the optional modules, everything is available on the university website. So actually that's really spend some time and go through the entire website, because they have all the details given over there.
Yeah.
If I can just add to that as well, Sanya, I think one of the things that we always try to do, obviously I've only been with SIEC for a short time, but I've seen our careers advisors in action, and they always try and provide students with the relevant links. That's kind of the support that we give. So when you get those links, do click on them. We're sending them for a reason, because we want you to see that information. And as Janvi said, the information is there on the website. The key thing from my perspective, having worked at several universities, the same titled course at 2 universities can have different modules. So don't just go on the name of the course. Make sure you look at the modules and the content, because that may decide which one you prefer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So generally it's too easy, like both Janvi and Mirza have mentioned. So the links that we sent to you, they are the course links. So whenever you click on them, you land onto the course page. And if you scroll down, you'll find a section which is called as course modules or module description. And they are further hyperlinked. So you can see the topics just there. But if you click on them, you can actually see the details of what's going to be covered, what are the outcomes of that particular course, like what would be your learnings. And so it's easy. So the question is from Laksh. So Laksh, you can connect with our experts probably tomorrow, and they'll help you find those course modules for your shortlisted universities. Now moving on to the second phase of this journey, so you've got the unconditional offers, you've accepted the offer, and the visas. So the visa success rate of the UK, I just want to add on that, it's pretty much 100%, specifically for SIEC. So it's a very simple rule book to follow. So whatever your advisors and your visa officers at SIEC would guide you, just have faith and provide them with that information. Sometimes students feel that, why are we asking for maybe their income documents, their ITRs? We just want to make sure that your file goes in the best shape. So just to cooperate, and if you do have questions, ask them, because there could be a surprise interview from the High Commission, and if you don't ask those questions and you don't know what's happening with your file, you might not be able to clear it. So don't worry about the visa. If you've got the CAS, it's generally said you've got 85% of your visa approved for the UK, because it's issued by UKVI. And we make sure that you have prepared well for the same. So at SIEC, we have 100% CAS issuance success rate, and hence the visa success rate. Now, once a student has boarded the flight, and again, for that, I would like to mention that SIEC does assist you for flight bookings as well. So you don't have to unnecessarily, go for an expensive one or unnecessary layovers. So you can always talk to our experts, and they'll be able to help you the best way possible. The first thing when you land is how to get to the university or the accommodation, and for that you need to know where you're going to live. So Janvi, how did you figure out, and at what stage did you figure out where you would be living?
So, like I said, like after I got actually when I got the conditional, I'll talk about Surrey itself, because So I got it after getting the conditional offer. I was looking at the accommodations, and so I my preference was university accommodation. So there are two types. One is the one which university offers, that can be both on campus or off campus, and then there are private student accommodations. So these basically they are like studios. I mean, you have it's en suite with the kitchenette, and then there is private accommodations like a room that you can rent in a flat, so it will be shared washroom and shared kitchen. So these are generally the type of accommodations available, and I wanted a uni accommodation and ensuite. So it's again on the website. The university website gives you all information on both, like on campus the university accommodation as well as the private housing, and there are links. So it depends on which region you are, which location. So they'll give you a list of, say, if it's private accommodation, they'll give you a list of relevant for that places relevant for that city, that town. So the minute I got the unconditional offer, I applied for the university accommodation. It's pretty straightforward. You just once you're eligible to enroll for the accommodation, you just follow the steps, and we had to give a preference or order of preference of what type of accommodation we wanted, and it's not in our hands. So it depends on the availability. So whichever you get, that's it. So it would be advised that you apply earlier so that you have a choice and there is availability. So, and again, the booking and accommodation is very subjective. Do you want to stay on campus, or do you want a uni accommodation, which is again on or off, or a private one? It depends on the price, it depends on the location, and so these are the two main factors. The both have their pros and cons. So university accommodation, if it's on campus, then it's obviously very happening, because you are on campus, you're up to date with all the activities. If it's a bit far, so mine is off campus, but because I wanted an ensuite, so I was okay with that. It depends. Seriously, it's very subjective, but again, I would say go on the university website and just thoroughly go through the accommodation place. They have the pricing, they have everything. So which suits you the best, go for it. And again, I think for UG over here at Surrey, it's the contract is only for a year. So every year they'll have to they shift or change their rooms. For PG, that's not a problem. It's for 1 year itself. So
Yeah. And I would like to add to what Janvi said a few points. So for undergrad specifically, most universities do actually have this mandatory that you stay on campus for
yeah.
at least the first year, and hence you can kind of renew your contract. For postgraduate, it's completely a choice, but considering the availability of part-time jobs as well, there are ample of those on the campus and around the campus.
Yeah.
So if you are actually there, it becomes easier for you to
It
commute
becomes
and hop on from one class to another, because the campuses are huge, so you won't have every class happening in the same building, so you might have to walk a bit. So if you are staying on the campus, it just becomes easier. And the most important bit, that we can save you from the hassle of really hunting for those accommodation options all yourself. So we have SIEC's special services team. So we ensure that we give you the possible options on the university campus, outside the university campus, whatever budget you have. If you want to stay with a friend, any combinations. We do it more like a matchmaking stuff only. So even if you say you want to stay only with an Indian, we'll see to it that something of that sort can happen. So when you get an offer, our team does connect with you to tell you what are the options, and then they help you pick the best possible one. So yeah, that is also something
yeah.
we would be more than happy to assist you with. But it's very important to be on time, because they get full very soon, specifically the
Yes.
on-campus ones, and hence you have lesser options available, which are slightly expensive. So yeah, and I just want Mirza, you probably could add on this, like how good is the public transport? Because I've heard, I mean, great things about the UK transport,
Uh,
specifically the public transport. So how has been your experience? And then maybe Mirza can add, anything you miss out on. Yeah.
It's good. Yeah.
It is pretty, yeah. I mean, Jamie, obviously you've got that first-hand experience, and it's good to hear you say it's good. I think it works. I think it works well. I think it's really good for students to be able to get around the UK. What I always say is that UK is quite a small country. Of course, that's what, if you're coming from India, it's perhaps difficult to imagine how much smaller UK is in size compared to India. So getting from London to Birmingham to Manchester is a lot easier than going
Yeah.
from, I don't know, Delhi to Mumbai. So, trains, buses, all those options. I think one of the most important things that I would mention when you ask that question is that internally within cities, or once you're studying on campus, living near to campus and so on, most of the time you won't even need to worry about public transport. We walk more than is perhaps standard in India, just because
Oh yeah.
the temperature in India doesn't quite allow you to walk as far as you would in the UK. One of the biggest mistakes I ever made was walking in downtown Mumbai between two appointments, and I arrived having melted. So in the UK it's a bit easier because obviously the temperature is a bit more moderate. So I think most students actually really appreciate the fact that they can just kind of walk around and get to places easily. But yes, the public transport is also really strong, and within cities, the bus services and tram services and tubes are obviously really good. And kind of between cities, there's connections between trains and coaches. So yeah, good options.
Right. So we do have a few questions around the class duration and stuff like that. So this was the next on agenda for you,
Okay.
Jhanvi.
Yeah.
So how do you, we would like to tell you about your part-time job experience, but at the same time, how do you manage the new education system, hopping between class to class, and yes, of course, the duration and the specifics of it.
So it's totally different. So from what we are used to, like I said, it's more application based, it's more critical thinking. And again, for my course, we had the second semester first because we were the Feb intake. So that was a bit hectic, but again, it's like one or two lectures a day, not more than that. But that was for my course again. And so that's there. And again, hopping between the universities, there is time, so you can just go about. There is just time between lectures, and again took me a while to get used to this format because we are not used to it. It's more like I said, it's application based. It's like what are your thoughts on it, on say a particular subject, and the referencing. And but again, like I said, attend the first lecture of your module, and because the professors will give you in detail all the information about the course, what is expected of you, and everything, and the marking criteria. And and also there are so like here at SARI we have a concept of personal tutors. So if we have any doubt apart from academics, we can go to them. So maybe for say a career, or for if you're feeling low, or just if you want to chat with someone, so take help from university support as well. And check with your seniors, with your alumni, and how they go about how they went about their assignments, because it's again that will be very specific to that course.
One of the things I was going to add, just you mentioned the kind of the lecturers being helpful and so on. That's one of the things that I would say is really strong across most universities, but also particularly where they rank highly for student satisfaction and so on. The reason why they rank highly for happy students is because their students can get the necessary support from their lecturers, from the student support team, from subject admin teams, and so on. So that is really important. And so go out, ask questions. If you need help, do ask for the help. Don't be shy. There is at every university some sort of team that is focused on helping students in whatever way they need. You just need to ask where they are, and you'll get directed to them.
And to add to that, no, I agree, ask questions, because so there's a format. Generally, it's like lectures and seminars. I think I'm sure that's common across universities. So lectures is where the teaching happens, and seminars is more of a discussion. So, it's always, see, if you're a class of 60 or 120, if you interact, you'll have a recall value with the professor. So he'll know you're from this course. And, if you say want to approach him one-to-one later on for any other doubts, he'll have that recall value that, yes, I mean, I know this, he's from this and this class. So it's always nice to engage, to interact with the professors, because and with your course mates as well, because networking and socializing is a big part over here, because that is one of the main reasons, I think, that because we are coming out of our comfort zones. So that helps, networking, socializing with your group mates. And again, there'll be group presentations as well, because I think that's common in across universities. So like we had a dive for all, I think, my presentations, we had a dive group like from diverse backgrounds, different countries. Like it was never all Indians or all Asians in one. It was different. It was nice. It
That's
helps
what
you
makes it really
socializing and
enjoyable, I
breaking
guess.
the ice, and it's nice. It's nice.
That's what makes it enjoyable. That's what makes it fun, I guess.
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
now you've got a network of friends all over the world, which is
exactly.
fantastic.
And you get
I was
different perspectives.
Yes, exactly.
Mm,
Because we come from different cultures and we can
exactly.
teach each other. Every culture has its positives and negatives. We can all learn from
Yeah.
each other. It's amazing. I was just going to ask, how many hours per week do you have contact time? Because obviously the student was asking the question. So how many the contact hours, as we call it, lectures and seminars, do you have per week?
So currently, because I'm in my first semester, I have lectures thrice a week. That's Monday, Thursday, and Friday. The lecture is for 1 hour, and lecture is for 2 hours, seminar for 1 hour. So 3 hours a day. But now I'm done with the lectures. It's just the
Okay.
assignment spending. But yeah, it's generally 1 hour, 2 hour lecture, 1 hour seminar.
Okay.
So in the first semester, we had I'd say, except, yeah, we had lectures like all 5 days, because again we were Feb intake, so
Yeah.
we had one additional module as well.
Yeah.
But but again, it was like either one or max two lectures a day. It was
Yeah.
not like 9 to 5 or something like that. That was
Yeah.
for the summer modules, because we had taken business plan instead of dissertation. But otherwise,
But
no.
otherwise, you're not
Yeah,
in all
otherwise
day, and you're
it's, yeah,
certainly
yeah,
not in
it's
at the
not the whole
weekends. We
day.
had a student ask the question. I normally
No, no,
say to
no.
students,
Weekends are a big thing here in
we,
UK.
we, we
Please,
we don't work on the weekend in the
no,
UK.
no, no work. Yeah. So
I
even if you reply, I mean, if you send an email on Friday evening, don't expect a reply till Monday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I used to say to students, it's usually 10 to 15
yeah,
hours, depending
yeah,
on your course,
yeah.
10 to
Depending on
15
the
hours
course,
contact
yes.
time. And I had a parent once say to me, "What are we paying all this money for? They should be in class all day." But actually, as you well
Mm,
explained, it's a different style of teaching. There's a
yes.
lot more preparation outside of classes, and there's a lot more
Yeah.
group work and all of these things. So yeah.
Also, I would suggest it would be nice, if you just read up more, like what I'd say, horizontal reading, just not in depth, but on diverse topics, on what's current trending, because then go prepared for the lectures. They generally give you, because sometimes your lectures might not be in person, it might be pre-recorded. So you read about, I mean, you listen to those lectures and then read about whatever material has been shared, because then you can engage in the seminars and discussions. So that's pretty helpful.
That's really good advice as well. I was just going to add one more thing, Sanya, before we
Yeah.
let you move on to the next question. From a university's perspective in the UK universities want to make sure that you've got the time to do extra things as well.
Yes.
So coming to study at university isn't just about the theory and the knowledge. It's about expanding your horizons. It's about growing as a person. It's about networking, as Janvi correctly said. We want you to join a student society or play a sport, work part-time. UK universities really make sure that you've got the time. And I'll give you an example of that. At most UK universities, undergraduate students cannot have lectures on Wednesday afternoons. Reason being is that Wednesday afternoons are reserved for university sports when universities play against each other. And we want to make sure that every student can join a sports team and not miss out on any teaching. So usually Wednesday afternoons are clear of lectures and seminars just so that you can play a sport. So that really shows you how important all those extracurriculars are. And we as universities want to build our systems around you being able to do some of those extra things.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting and good to know, because as Indian students, I think we're so much trained just to focus on academics all our lives, that to know that the education system itself gives us space to do more is really promising and exciting. I'm sure exciting. Like it's not going to be a waste of time to be a part of sport for a change, because in India that's how it's kind of perceived in most places. All right. So, moving on to the next one would be the part-time job. So, are you working part-time?
No, I'm not currently working part-time, but the part-time here for your course duration, I think, is 20 hours per
Yeah.
week. So
So,
yeah,
how do you? But I'm sure people around you would be working
yeah, they
part-time,
do.
so you can
So
still give us some
yeah,
insights. Yeah.
yeah. So like I said, 20 hours per week, and there are many options. So you can either work in the universities, in the cafeterias or library, or maybe in cafes or retail. So there are in the town. So yeah, so these are a few options in restaurants for part time. So again, just once you get here, start looking out for part times as well, because if it's competitive. I mean, now in Guildford, it's a small town, so, and it's mostly a student town. So like for the university, like the university part time, they had to accommodate quite a few students, so the shift duration was less, and getting it also took a while, because so that's why start the minute you're here, you just start exploring, start applying. There'll be career fairs as well in universities, so do attend those, so especially for undergraduate students. But for if you're postgraduate, you can still attend, because you never know what clicks. So yeah,
If I can add as well to that, I
yeah,
mean, I think the best piece of advice is as soon as you get here, start handing out your CVs. So you
yeah,
can prepare your CV before you travel. And then once you arrive, you can maybe speak to the employability team
yeah,
to just get it polished and make it UK friendly. Obviously, a UK CV will be a bit different to an Indian CV. So that's the only thing, just making sure it's kind of fits the UK better. But there are usually opportunities in cafes, restaurants, shops, cinemas. When I was a student, I worked pretty much 15, 20 hours, even though I didn't have a restriction as a British student, but I worked 15 up to 20 hours each week as a waiter in Pizza Hut. That was my job. And it was a great way to make extra cash, but also just to kind of meet people from outside of the university and make friends that aren't just kind of, people I already see every day. So there's benefits, not just financially, but kind of in a wider sense as well.
Yeah, and I would like to ask the follow-up question, like, how does this, help students to achieve that networking? Because we at SIC also emphasize a lot on the fact that as soon as the student is there, they should actually find out as many ways as they can to network within the student community or even outside. So, Janvi, if you could share your
yeah,
experience, like besides the career fairs, what do you,
yeah.
yeah.
So no, 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 absolutely. Networking is the most important thing, if you ask me. Apart from, I mean, of course, your academics, yes, but do take out time, to network, to socialize. It can be, like Mirza said, part time is one way, career fairs is another. Your classmates, your batchmates, that's another way, and connect with. There are also guest lecturers who will come at your university, so maybe you can connect to them one on one. You can connect with them on LinkedIn, and just travel. Like Mirza had already mentioned, UK is pretty compact. The public transport is fantastic. So whenever you get the time over the weekend, you just explore, just travel. So that helps. And also having a set, a group will help you, especially during winters. It can get pretty lonely over here. So it would be nice, after lectures, and it just over the weekend to socialize, to meet people. And if you're living on campus, it'll be wonderful. Half the things are taken care of because you're just amidst all the activity.
You,
So
you, said, you said about winters being tough.
yeah,
Statistically speaking, the hardest point for
yes,
students in the UK is January.
yeah,
Because in September, when you arrive, as you said, there's a welcome program. You're all
hmm,
excited. Everybody's new. You're all getting to know each other. You're
hmm,
settling in, and the term flies. Then you have the Christmas holidays, and there's kind of excitement as well. Some students
yeah,
go home, they visit family. Then you come back in January, and there's not the same welcome period. You're straight back into kind of, studying. And
yeah,
actually, you're into your second term, so you're picking up new modules.
exactly.
So that's usually the hardest part. But as you said, if you have established a network of friends, if you have established different things that you do, so you're not just sitting in lectures and in the library and so on,
Yeah,
you will be fine. So yeah, make sure you get
yeah.
involved with activities.
You really don't want to do, lectures to your room and room to your lectures. That just
Exactly.
avoid.
Exactly. And also, I mean, we haven't mentioned that part, and I'm sure Sani is going to come on to employability and things like that, but it's so important that you get involved to improve your CV as well, because
Yes.
everything you're doing builds your CV up. And actually, if you just spend your time in lectures, you might get a high grade, but your CV won't be that impressive.
Yeah, and yeah, so that again brings me to the next question. Like, because networking is eventually, a way to lead to employment. So now that you're not doing a part-time job, I'm kind of myself very keen to understand that what is your plan to, and are you shortlisting employers already? Uh, so how are you exactly planning that?
So my plan is a bit different. So, like I, just to give a brief of my background, I am an archaeologist and I'm doing international tourism management because I want to combine both the fields and start something in India. But yes, I would, like to. So I'm applying for a PSW here, but like I attended the World Travel Market, so I got an opportunity to work over there as a hostess for one of the Indian tourism boards. And so the World Travel Market is like the one of the biggest events in the tourism industry. So the company I was working with, I got a job offer from them. So they are based in India, but it's they also have a UK market. So that's there. But the job market here is competitive. So I would advise that don't do things chronologically. Like don't wait for your course to end and then start looking for jobs. Do it simultaneously, and attend. So like for tourism, we had this WTM, but for there are other events like whichever according to your course. So like my friends, they are from AI, so they had this hackathon which they went for. So they got an opportunity to network. One of them, I think she got a job through just talking, and she met someone there, and one thing led to the other. So networking, like I said, attend all these and career fairs, especially for UG. It's an advantage that because they're mostly targeted to the UG students. So yeah.
Right. And I want to link this question to the opportunities, and that's one for you, Mirza. So there's been a lot of the turbulence around availability of jobs or being very limited in terms of the sector they're available in. So uh, we have students, I think, from diverse backgrounds even today with us. So what is exactly the employability situation in terms of part-time but also full-time jobs? Yeah.
Well, I think it's like Janvi said, it's competitive in the UK. It always has been though. But what's really important about the UK is that there's always been opportunities as well. We're a small country with a demographic that's getting older, and therefore we still need people to come into our workforce. We need people in hospitality. So those part-time jobs, there's always a need for more waiters, for more people working in hotels, in restaurants, in cafes, and whatever. That's always been there. So part-time job opportunities are there. As for full-time jobs, again, obviously you've heard me say this, Anya. We talk about GIR, PSW coming back to the UK, and that came back a few years ago. For me, that didn't really change anything. Really strong students, really strong graduates that I've known over the years from India were getting jobs and getting sponsorship even without PSW back then. And the really strong students will still get the jobs now that they don't need sponsorship. And those students who haven't quite improved their CV overall will have a bit more of a struggle. That's why I talk about the importance of getting involved in a wider sense. If I could grab every student and shake them and say, please don't just sit in a lecture theatre, I would. Because I think that's really important. And Janvi's already kind of talked about that. And I think, if that's the one message everybody can take away from today, I'd be really happy. You have to get involved. You have to build up your CV. You have to understand the British culture. You have to understand how to sell yourself in an interview with a UK company, because it will be different how you talk in India. So all of that's really important. So get involved, network, take opportunities that are on campus, take opportunities off campus in terms of part-time jobs, go to fairs, go to events, join a sports team, join a society. All of the skills you learn will go onto your CV. And one of the things that we're really big at in the UK is transferable skills. So again, what we want to see from future staff is that they've got the transferable skills to work as part of a team, to work with clients, to deal with problems, to show initiative. And those are the skills you can show on your CV, even through societies and sports teams. And as Janvi said, taking part in and working at a kind of a world trade event. Those are really important, not just the grade. So Yes, it is a competitive market, absolutely. I would never pretend otherwise. But there's certainly scope, and particularly for those students who understand that it's more than just your degree results.
I would also like to add to that. Universities generally have these student elections or course representatives. Try applying for that as well. It goes on your CV. So, and during the orientation, you have different, like Mirza said, the different societies and clubs, which are, you get to know more about them. Join one of them and, try working in that. So it just adds on to your CV because it'll help. It'll help for.
Actually, Sanya, if I can add as well, we do
Yeah.
also have a very clear shortage in some fields. So students always ask about that. I mean, in the UK, we've had a shortage of bioscientists and chemical scientists, and particularly students kind of graduating in those science-related fields and subjects related to medicine. We have had a shortage of computer scientists as well, particularly coming out of COVID, as we spent more time online and there was greater need for data analysts and software engineers and programmers and so on. We have traditionally, for many, many years, had a shortage of civil engineers, construction managers, project managers. And actually, this new government of ours in the UK has really big plans to kind of develop some of the infrastructure that we haven't over the last few years. So building more hospitals, more houses, more schools, that's going to need more people. And then, there's opportunities kind of in other fields such as, physiotherapy, sports sciences, those fields. We have a shortage of artists and graphic designers and so on. So there is always scope. I guess it just depends on what you're looking to do. But ultimately, even if it's not a shortage area, if you're a good student, you will be able to succeed. Just make sure you get involved.
Yeah, I think that really covers a lot of good points, starting from, the role of university. Sorry for that. So from the role of university to actually what a student can do. And we do have a question in the Q&A that what about campus placement? So I hope the student got the answer, because there's no such thing as a campus placement overseas, not just in UK, but even in other countries for that matter. It's like they'll really set the stage for you. They'll bring these companies through career fairs. They'll have the career centers in place who are available all the time to prepare you for your dream job. But it's you who's actually going to have to reach out to them, and of course networking, that's the key. So we can go a bit backwards on the questions that we have, and then we just have a quick quiz for our attendees today, just to wrap it up and make it a little more exciting. So I'll just see if you've missed any questions, even though I think we've answered most of them. In the meantime, maybe Jasmeet.
Sorry, I've just seen a question, Sanya, that somebody had asked. Rohit asked, what documents do we need to apply for once we land to work part-time? So there's no documents as such, Rohit, but you will need a national insurance number just so you can get paid. And again, your university can help you with that, or you can apply for one online. So the university can direct you to the location where you can get it in your town or your city, or you can apply online. But that's pretty much the only thing you need, and a good CV to get the job.
I'd also like to add, make a few points. Like once you land here, just open a bank account. So with HSBC or Lloyd's, there are many options, and it's pretty straightforward. So you just do it through your website. Then SIM card, generally with the Visa, I had gotten one. I'm just using that, or you can get one here as well. And NI number, again, you can apply from the UK university. UK government website. And also check out for student discounts. There are many student discounts. So here we have the Stagecoach for the public transport, so I'm sure there'll be some similar app in whichever town you are in. So they have these annual student passes and all of that, rail cards, student oyster cards if you're in London. And check out uni days and such apps, because they have a lot of discounts for students. So explore the town initially, so you get an idea of where the grocery stores are, where how is it, how far is it, and everything, all of that.
Thanks so much for that, because those are the tips that can only come from somebody who's been there. Absolutely, figuring out the discounts. So yeah, you mentioned uni days. I missed when I used to have those discounts actually. So yeah, very good advice.
Yeah.
Great. So I think we've covered most of the questions, and we can move on to the quiz now. I'll still check if we have missed out any, and then we can do it after the quiz. So we have Tanvi and Jasmeet who would be doing the fun part. So we will share the screen and we will kind of display the questions. So we would request the students to just type the answers in the chat. You don't really have to write the full option, but just write A, B, C, or D. There'll be 4 options to each question.
Are we not allowed to play? I want to win the prize.
Oh yeah, you can. You're more than absolutely open to all. Just like the UK. I mean, it's the tagline we have for the UK. It just welcomes everyone. So yeah, can we start?
Yes, we can start. Hi, everyone. Jasmeet, can you share the screen?
Yep, just allow me 1 second. I'm just sharing. Is my screen visible to all?
Yeah. Right. So we have about 10 students with us right now, and of course our panelists. So dig in and let's start having the questions. So Jasmeet, you're going to read out the questions.
Oh, we have already got an answer.
Yeah. So which country is the smallest by area in the United Kingdom? So we have 4 options. A, Wales, B, London, C, Scotland, and D is Northern Ireland. So we'll just check the chat box for the answers.
I can read out the answers for you.
Yeah.
So we've got one which says Wales. That's Rohit. Then Animesh says it's Northern Ireland. Laksh as well. So we've got 2 for Northern Ireland. We've got 2 for Wales, and we've got 1 for London. Wow. So that's the interesting one. I think you can throw in the okay. We've got 1 for Scotland as well. So
Do you know what's really embarrassing is that I'm not 100% sure between 2 of them. I'm kind of sitting here going, I can't. Oh, which one is it? So well done to the guys that are answering because I'm kind of still not 100.
Yeah, geography is not my strongest suit, so I'm not even attempting to answer.
okay. So what's the right answer?
It's Northern Ireland.
Great. So I think we've got Laksh and Animesh as the ones who got it right. And I just would like to add that London is the capital and it's a city, and it's located in England. So England would be the country, but London would be the city. Moving on. The next question, please.
Right. So the next question is, what makes up the United Kingdom? Wales, England, Scotland. Second is Wales, England, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. Then Wales, England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and the Republic of Ireland. And the last one is Wales, London, and Scotland. And we have already a few answers in the chat box.
Yeah, so far it's all B. It's going in the right direction.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, we've got a D. Okay. Right. So the correct answer would be B. I'm pretty sure about this one, so I'm gonna say it. So it's B. So it's Wales, England, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. These are the 4 regions or countries, as we say, which make UK as the United Kingdom. The next question.
Can I just say on that one, I'm
Yeah,
impressed
please.
that everybody knew it because it can get confusing because people sometimes confuse Great Britain and United Kingdom, but Great Britain is Scotland, Wales, and England. So Northern Ireland is not Great Britain, and then you have the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, but it can sometimes get confusing. So well done to the guys that got it right.
Yeah.
Yep. So next question is, what is the minimum compulsory school leaving age in the UK? 21, 16, 18, and 15.
Okay, we've got some answers. We've got 2 for 16, 1 for 18. We've got more for 16 actually. Yeah. So which one is it? Is it 16 or is it 18?
It's 16.
All right, so that's again something new, I'm sure, for specifically the undergraduate students here. Mirza, would you like to kind of tell how is it different from India? Because in India it's 18 and yeah.
Also, I have to say, I didn't know that. I assume standard 10 was the compulsory in India as well, but so you have to go up to 18, essentially standard 12 in India.
Yeah, so yeah, I
Wow.
think you're right. So basically this one's for school, so secondary school, right? So this
Yeah.
one's for secondary school. So the answer is 16. Had
Yeah.
it been higher secondary, that then it would have been or the A levels, then it would have been 18, right?
Yeah, so essentially when you reach 16 and you do your GCSEs, which is 10th equivalent, you don't have to go to school anymore. You can go and get a job, or you can, you know, whatever you decide. So yeah, 16 is the end point that you have to be at school till.
Right. Okay, screen.
Yeah, just give me 1 second. Just
Sure. There's one question which is very interesting. I'm sure the food lovers, the foodies are going to love that.
I think it's something.
I'll share
Some
my screen.
curry dish,
Yeah.
national dish.
No. It's interestingly, maybe we'll come to that, yeah.
It's coming soon.
I think we are on the 4th one. So yeah, which is the national
Wow.
dish of the UK? So we are here. So A is pizza. Then we have chicken tikka masala, pancakes and sausages.
And Lakshya is B.
I
So
think you have all the answers.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, people are guessing it right.
It's so interesting.
So now you know you're not going to miss Indian food over here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But then the vegetarians are gonna be a bit scared
Oh,
because
you have
I'm
vegan chicken as
vegetarian.
well. So there are a lot of vegan options here. You can go for them. Maybe try the vegan chicken.
It's got really good for vegetarians now, actually. So
Yeah.
my wife is vegetarian, and the options, even in kind of the 12, 13 years we've been together, however long, I should probably know exactly how long we've been together. But you know, the options have improved so much, and there's so many substitutes for meat, but
Yeah.
also substitutes for cheese and milk, and so if you're vegan as well, you'd be okay.
Yeah. One cultural shock I had, because in India generally vegetarian is excluding egg, but here that egg suitable
That's
for
vegan.
vegetarians, they generally have egg in it too. So yeah, so whoever is a pure vegetarian, so who doesn't even eat egg, just check the ingredients. Maybe you can go for the vegan options.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Can I just say I like Rohit's answer because he's gone outside of the question as well, and he's completely right as well that you'd probably say fish and chips and chicken tikka masala
Yeah.
we're famous for. So yeah.
Great. The next one.
Yes. So what is the England largest city in terms of population? Birmingham, London, Manchester, and Leeds.
Hey, here it comes. Someone says Rohit is kind of, he says Londonium. What does that mean?
He's gone for the Roman name,
Yeah.
which is pretty impressive actually.
Yeah.
I also like the fact that Animesh has put the population in there as well.
He's mentioned his ancient name. We're
Yeah,
happy that we have you, Rohit. I mean, it's actually a learning session for us as well. Thank you. Okay, so what's the right answer?
It's London. B.
Great, everyone got it right.
Right. So the next question is, what's the second longest river in England? River Thames, River Trent, Amazon River, and River Severn.
Names.
Is there a river called Amazon River actually, or you just made it up?
there is in Brazil.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Okay, so we have Severn, Thames. Okay, I think we've got someone for everyone, for all the options. So which one is it?
I don't know this one.
A.
Right, so this is River Thames.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
the
so
correct.
Thames is second longest. Okay. Very good.
Which one's the
didn't-
first? We should have had
I-
that.
This one was the one that I didn't know, but my city, Nottingham, is on the River Trent. So if for any cricket fans who might have heard of Trim Bridge, which is our cricket ground in Nottingham, which is where India usually play when they come over, that's named because it's a bridge on the River Trent.
Great. We move on to the next one.
Yes, so what's the official home of the royal family called? Windsor Castle, Buckinghamshire Palace, White House, Kingston Palace.
Okay. This one everyone should get right. Yeah, so I think
Yeah.
we've got the right answer.
Right. The
Yeah,
answer is Buckingham Palace.
it would have been interesting if anyone would have said the White House, but yeah, good. Okay, the next one.
Okay, so the next one is the official language of Scotland is English, Scottish Gaelic, Welsh, or Scots.
Okay. We were tie in B and D.
Interestingly, I thought the same, but both
Exactly.
the answers are incorrect. Well, I was the same. I was thinking the same.
Exactly. We and Tanvi when
Any
we
more guesses?
make the answers. So also we are also know like we also know about the B
Yeah.
and C, but it's not B and C.
English? Yeah.
Yes, it is English.
Yes, it is English.
Scottish, but then interestingly, it is English.
I think it's just the dialect and the pronunciation and the speed. You should have actually added that as an option here. Is it fast English, slow English, or what it is? But yeah. Okay, the next one, please.
So, who was the first Queen of England? Elizabeth, Mary One, Jane Grey, Queen Latifah.
Janvi, do you know that one?
No.
I just somehow feel it's always Elizabeth 1, 2, 3. Maybe
Yeah.
that's how it would have started. But
I
we have
thought Elizabeth, but I don't think.
someone says nickname Bloody Mary.
Yeah, so this is a tricky one
Anyone?
actually. This is not an easy one. There's two answers there that could both
Yeah.
be.
Which one's the answer, guys?
It's B.
Mary 1.
Mary One.
So
And as Animesh
got the
said,
right one.
Animesh
Yeah.
is the right.
Animesh is given a nickname as well. Yeah.
Yeah, you find it on a lot of menus out there. So it's interesting. Okay, the next, I think we've got the last question now.
Yeah.
Motor oil.
So, yeah. Yeah,
Now-
so just to make it fun, we have added this option. So, what drink do English people consume the most? Coffee, motor oil, beer, and tea. Or tea, yeah.
Interesting. Who thought of the motor?
B. What is B?
Yeah, and the answer is somewhat similar to what Indians do.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the shared culture that I was talking
Yeah.
about in one of my presentations. Yeah.
So D, tea it is. English tea. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's D.
But
yeah.
the guys that said beer aren't too wrong either. There's a lot of beer that gets drunk as
We're
well.
just trying to add to the fun. Nothing more. Okay. I think it was a good quiz, and I'm really happy that our audience was really participative and rather funny only. So it was good one, and good job guys on such a good quiz
And
questions and
really,
options.
really knowledgeable, Sanya, really knowledgeable. I mean, some of the facts that we were getting from our audience were very impressive. So yeah, well done, guys.
Yeah. And I think we could actually applaud Rohit because he's actually, given us some more information around the options that we kind of had. So good job, everyone, and thanks, Rohit, for making this a little more interesting for us and everyone else. Okay, so we have 2 more minutes to go. Is there any question that anyone has and would like to answer? So someone did ask what are the options they can go for after MCOM in India. I have reverted to it. There are a lot of specializations you can go for, and a lot would depend whether you have experience, what area do you have, how you've worked in, and what do you want to do, because after BCom, MCom, there are a lot of options you can specialize in, or you might want to specialize in, like fintech, accounting, banking and finance, investments, and a lot more. So we will connect with you tomorrow, and we would be more than happy to take all of your doubts if we've missed any. Yeah, so Laksh, please go ahead with the doubt. So it's interesting. Rohit says he's lived in Australia, and hence he knows a lot about Commonwealth.
Oh.
And I'm happy he's going to be in
Makes
Italy
sense.
very soon. So he's picking UK or Australia. Yeah. What's the difference between a BA and a BSc course? So Mirza, over to
Good
you.
question. Good question. This was a question I often had from students when I was kind of working for university side, particularly because obviously in India, you guys tend to have BEng, BTech, BCom, whereas in the UK, you don't have a lot of those. We don't tend to have specializations in that part. The difference between BA and BSc or MA and MSc is how they are assessed. So a BA or an MA course, it's a Bachelor of Arts or a Master of Arts, tends to have a dissertation at the end. So there's a bigger written project at the end, where you write kind of on your own research. A BSc or an MSc, Bachelors of Science, Masters of Science, tends to be more practically assessed. So presentations, group work, written exam rather than just pure dissertation. And obviously both will have coursework anyway, but it's just that kind of final point. Is it a big dissertation or is it more practically assessed with an exam or something like that?
Yeah, and I think just to add to what Mirza mentioned, so BA is kind of, in very limited subject areas, while BSc can actually be in management as well. It can be in any of the science subjects or anything else. So yeah, BA kind of is very specific to arts, I would say, with some specialization. Like sometimes students get psychology, they can get economics, but BSc offers you a whole lot, different range of subjects. So it's a very open-ended question, and again, we'll be happy to discuss this in detail tomorrow. So there's no way to tell right now whether BA is better or BSc. It completely depends on your career goals and your skills as well. Like, are you someone who's too much into research, or are you someone who likes more of practical, studies? So we would like to talk to you tomorrow, Laksh, and understand what could go well for you. And but Mirza, you want to add something?
I was just going to mention, because obviously he's asking for computer science and coding. You would struggle to find BA in computer science, just because of the nature of what the subject is. There's not usually a big, long written dissertation, so you struggle to find a BA in it. They tend to be BScs. But Sanya's said it exactly right. It depends on your preference ultimately. If you're somebody that likes exams, they're kind of more practical, then BSc might be better. If you're somebody that prefers to have like a long piece of research and coursework essentially, then a BA may be better.
Right. So I think that brings us to the end of the session for today, but I enjoyed it to the fullest, and I think it was an amazing session. I really hope our students also felt the same. We're open to feedback. If you feel that we should come up with a similar session with some other topics to be covered, we would be more than open to getting those inputs from you. You can just reach out to your advisor and let them know. And I would like Mirza and Janvi to just say some closing words, and then we can wind this up.
Well, I'll leave the last word to Janvi because she was the most important person here today. It's so fantastic to have a student who's doing it, who can tell everybody from her own perspective and the truth of what it's like in the UK. From my side, again, if you can go away with one thing today, is to know that the opportunity is there for you to do really amazing things in the UK. As long as when you get here, you take those opportunities, you get involved, you network, you take part in activities. You know, there's so much to do at universities in the UK. It's really exciting. And yeah, thank you all for listening. Animesh, thank you for your kind words. We really appreciate it. Thank you to all of you. You were really great fun on the quiz as well. I had a great time speaking to you, and hopefully I'll get to speak to some of you alongside your careers advisors over the coming weeks and months. And over to our VIP.
No, thank you so much for inviting me, and I hope I have been able to solve any of your queries, and and you're like I said, this is the correct time that you've registered for the panel discussions, because SIEC, I mean, I'm telling you with my personal experience, till you land in UK, everything is taken care of. So I remember I have bombarded Sanya, Tanvi, Shivani, all of them with questions, and they have just helped me and guided me throughout. And also, like, you'll have a good time in UK. Just also one cultural shock that we have here, that here you're on your own, so there's no help. We are used to that. So so get into the habit of organizing and scheduling your things, so it'll be much easier for you once you get here. And then I'm sure you'll all have a good time here, because it's a wonderful place to be, especially for students. And do travel across across UK. Yeah.
And Janvi, you did have some pictures to share, right? We still have some of our team. So would you like to just quickly complete?
Could you share, because I
Yeah,
think
I can do
I'm
that.
not able to do that.
Yeah, I just want to, it's like a quick peek in to her
Yeah.
journey so far, and what more she's been able to do outside studies. So yeah, I'm just gonna share my screen quickly.
I think that's a great thing to end on. The
Yeah,
actual proof of Janvi having fun in the UK.
Oh yeah. So this is the first picture on your left. That's the Guildford Cathedral. It's next to the university. That's our batch. And then here are a few pics from lectures, and that's the campus right now for Christmas, and the road show. So it was a mixed up. So actually, for the tourism hospitality events, we only had one local, one Brit. The rest from different parts of the world. We had people from Greece, Cambodia, Vietnam, Saudi, Indians. So it was mixed.
If I can mention, was that on the next slide, the pictures of your class?
Yeah.
If I can mention, for most students, if they're doing a postgraduate course, there won't be as many British students. Don't expect to be in a class of 60-70% British students and the rest international. It will be a real mix.
Yeah, it's a mix.
Brits might only be 5-10%. That's how it is on postgraduate courses, because they're students from all over the world. Undergraduate's a bit different. On undergraduate courses, it's usually 20-30% international, and then 60-70%, 80% British. But that's a really good point as well.
So these are just from our lectures, and we had a pizza party afterwards, at the end of our module. So it's fun. So and this is the world travel market that I was talking about.
I must say, I actually do follow you on LinkedIn, and I really loved the fact that you were in a sari, and the way
thank you so much.
That Indian element to the state. So yeah, it was amazing.
Thank you so much. But it was a huge platform, and this field in itself is completely new to me. So again, networking, it helps a big time. So please go out, network, socialize.
It's such an incredible experience for you, but also just an incredible experience to promote your country as well. It's fantastic.
Oh, here we were lucky. That's how the picture down below is our accommodation. That's our university off-campus accommodation. And there's a huge sports park. So all the pictures you see are just opposite it. So there's a Surrey Sports Park. So acres of land, which is just ground. And we could see the Northern Lights twice sitting here in UK. So we were lucky this time. So I know a few friends who had gone all the way to Norway and they couldn't see it. And here we were just, right across from our accommodation. So that was a surreal experience. So it was nice, because all people from all the accommodations, they were out, they had picnic mats, they were just there chilling. ordering food in. So it was a fun experience.
And a much better weather, I would say, because the places people travel to see these,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, just out of the world only.
Yeah. And these are a few places. Stonehenge, of course, that was the first place I visited because I'm an archaeologist. So yeah. And then British Museum. The Windsor is a nice place. London. And that's the Watts Gallery nearby. And so there are many other places. And I'm planning to visit Scotland and the rest of the places which I've not been to. Wales and Cambridge, Oxford. So that's on the list now.
For an archaeologist, Hadrian's Wall in Scotland is a really cool place to visit because they're still excavating so much of it.
Exactly.
So much of it's still being discovered. But obviously you've got the whole length of the country that
Yeah.
and the famous wall. So yeah, it's a really cool place to visit.
And I think all this in less than a year's time, along with, study experience. I think that's what exactly we want our students to know, that,
Exactly.
It's a lot outside the classroom that you get to experience and learn from instead of just being in the classroom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And most of these things are actually doable over the weekend. So you leave like Friday after your lectures, Friday evening perhaps, and by Monday you should be back. So, and weekends here, they really take it seriously. So I think, people are just it's your me time. So I think you should just make the most of it.
Cool. I think that brings us to the end of the session. It was lovely, and I think the flow was great. It was, like Mirza said, no way better than this to end the session. Just give them a glimpse of your journey so far. And we will reconnect with you once, you are done with your PSW and, you kind of have better plans. And do reach out to us. John, we would be happy to talk to you if you have any questions for her one-to-one as well. And of course, we have Mirza. He is available on our virtual office from Monday to Friday, of course, as per the UK time. And he's more than happy to assist you with any of your queries. And I would also like to mention that we are coming up with grand events in the month of February and March as well, in all the cities, across 8 cities in India. So you can get more information about that from our teams. And we look forward to assist you in this journey. And we hope that Mirza welcomes you very soon in the UK. Yeah.
I'll look forward to that. But thank you so much. Thanks again, Janvi. And wishing everybody a really good day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Janvi. You have
so much. All the best to everyone.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.